What is up, High Low News fam? It's your favorite managing editor here, Dericka Jaye, and I know it's been a minute, but we're back with another episode of the Culture Report. Now, for today's episode, we're joined by one of Hollywood's most esteemed screenwriters, okay? This is the guy behind some of your favorites like Brown Sugar, Just Wright, Light Mike, most recently Relationship Goals, and Ruth and Boaz. But today, he's joining us to talk about one of his latest business endeavors. So without further ado, please help us welcome Mr. Michael Elliot.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, thanks, Michael,
Yeah.
for joining us. Now, let's just get right into it. I want to start from the beginning.
Okay.
So, when did you first fall in love with film?
When I first fell in love with film, was probably when I saw the movie Wall Street. Charlie Sheen, Michael Douglas. That movie had an impact on me, right? I love the story. It inspired me. But that was the first movie that I couldn't forget. And I
Yeah,
think that's when it started,
yeah,
and obviously there's been others, but that was the first movie that I was like, wow, this is
yeah.
this is something.
And Wall Street. Okay, I need to add that on my list
Yeah.
to watch myself. And I know I was telling you a bit, off screen that for me, Brown Sugar was one of the films that was shown heavily in my household growing up. So for me, that's one of the films that made
Yeah.
me fall in love with film and made
Yeah.
me think about things like a career in entertainment and
Yeah.
journalism and music. So
Yeah.
how did you go about choosing, the route to being a screenwriter,
Yeah.
opposed to directing or even acting?
Yeah. So, the short version is I was working in New York for the Source magazine. And I was the executive producer of some of the more notable Source hip hop music awards, including the ones that are the most controversial, right?
Yeah.
And so at a certain point, I decided I had enough, and I was going to move to LA. And I thought about, what else could I do? Because I've always been involved with hip hop in some way professionally, right? And so I was trying to think of like, what else could I do? And I always loved movies. So, despite the fact that I'm like 30 at this point, I'm thinking about a major career change. I'm going to move to LA. And of all things, I'm going to get into the movie business. Well, long story short, I ran into Diddy, who was like, "What are you up to?" And I was like, "I'm going to LA to be in the movie business." He said, "Funny thing, I'm trying to do kind of the same thing. I want to take Bad Boy Entertainment and I want to get into film and TV." And he knew my hustle and he
Yeah.
knew my resourcefulness from getting the Source Awards on TV. So, long story short, he was like, "Yo, why don't you work for me? Go out to LA, you be my guy, whatever." So I went to LA. I had a job at Bad Boy Film, right, for a very, very short period of time because it ended when Notorious B.I.G. was murdered.
Oh,
And
wow.
48 hours later, I didn't have a job. So then I had a choice to make.
Yeah.
Well, do you stay in LA or do you go back to the East Coast? And I decided to stay in LA. Now, what am I going to do? Well, when I looked around, all I had of value was a computer that he paid for. And I looked at the computer as a tool and I thought, why not create something of value to get in the movie business? And that was the first time I seriously considered being a screenwriter. So I went to Blockbuster, excuse me, I bought a book on screenwriting at a store in LA. I read it one weekend. And then that Monday, I went to Blockbuster and I rerented all my favorite movies. And I started studying these movies that I had seen before, including Wall Street. And I started studying these movies that I'd seen before, but now through the information I learned in the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started writing. And I wrote one script that didn't go anywhere. And then I was about to quit and go back to the East Coast when someone suggested that I write one more screenplay. And that was the one that changed my life. So very next day, I'm in the shower, I have my radio on, and I hear Mary J. Blige's song 7 Days.
Okay.
7 days. And now I'm for some reason, I've heard it before, but this time the lyrics really stuck with me. Monday we're this, Tuesday we're this, Wednesday we're this, and then this day we make love. Now, what are we going to do? And I was like, oh my God, I think I have an idea for a movie. So I wrote the story on a napkin. And when I was done, then I went and I wrote a screenplay. It took me about a month. And when it was over, I called the script 7 days. I
Wow.
dropped it off at a production company, Magic Johnson Entertainment, to be specific, on a Thursday. 1 week later, I got the call to change my life, which was, you're going to need a lawyer because 20th Century Fox is going to buy your script. So the script that my friend said, write one more, this is, for me, it was nothing but God, right? Write one more script. I hear the song, I get the idea, I write the script, I call it 7 days, and 7 days later, the script is acquired by 20th Century Fox. I later changed the title to Brown Sugar, and that's the movie that you grew to love.
That we know and love today.
Yep.
Wow. I love
Yep.
this story. It's so kismet. And I
Yeah.
want to point out something you said about you switching gears at 30, because
Yeah.
I'll be 30 next year.
Yep.
And I feel like we come around this time and people think like, oh, I haven't done XYZ by now. But you
Yeah.
took a chance on yourself, and
Yeah.
we're here today, and
Yeah.
it's paid off immensely.
Yeah.
And speaking of Brown Sugar, I know you were just in Miami not too long ago for American
Mhm.
Black Film Festival. And they did this beautiful screening of Brown Sugar under the stars on
Yeah.
Movies on the Line. What was that like for you to see this film be received in this way with this audience? Because I know this event was a free community event for the people of
Yeah.
Miami. So what
Yeah.
was that like for you?
You know, it's a crazy thing to write a movie, right? To, first of all, have an idea. And all you have is an idea, and then you have a blank page. And then you put your thoughts and your ideas on this page, and you write 100 pages of a screenplay. And then all these, and the movie gets made, which is a whole nother thing. To
Yeah.
show up on set in New York City and you see trucks and trucks and trucks and all these people working, and you know that they're all here because of these 100 pages that you wrote, right? So to experience those moments, which were amazing, all these years later,
Yes.
to to have a movie thought of this way, because there's a million movies, there's a million Black movies. So to be someone who happened to have created something that so many people love all these years later is it's almost indescribable, man. I mean, it
Yeah.
really, really is, man. And I'm humbled by it, and it blows me away. It blows me away.
Yeah. It definitely stands the test of time. And Brown Sugar isn't the only one. You're like no stranger to having movies that have
Yeah.
this type of longevity, you know?
Yeah.
What's the ingredients to creating such a successful project?
Wow, great question. Sometimes I think about, like, well, what is it, right? And so, I believe that all writers have something that's unique to them
Mm,
that they bring or could bring to anything. I believe that about anyone, right? And I think that there's something about us all, right? And when you realize what that thing is there a way to use that thing? Here's
mm,
where I'm going. All I know is that I have always been creative, right? But I also know that I've always been incredibly sensitive. When I was a kid, it was a problem because I was the kid that was afraid of Santa Claus. Literally.
oh,
I was
wow.
the kid who, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, a girl on my grandfather's block had a stuffed animal because guess what? I was afraid of stuffed animals. Stuffed animals. She's got a stuffed animal. Your boy is running from the stuffed animal, like real talk. And I got hit by a car. Like I got hit by a car because I was afraid of a stuffed animal. Here's where I'm going. So as a kid, I was soft. I was sensitive. My mother used to say, that's going to be a problem. You're too sensitive. But my sensitivity is the special sauce in everything I've created.
It's
It's
your
the
superpower.
reason, it's the reason why you feel something when you see brown sugar. It's
Mm,
the reason that you feel like it's that one thing that's my thing. It's something that's in everything I create. And I think that and I don't do it intentionally. I'm just being myself. It's the way I see the world. I don't care what's cool. What would the cool dude say? What would the cool woman say in this moment? I don't think that way. What would I say?
hmm
You know what I mean? Like
I
it's
do,
it's
yeah.
me in all of those moments. So I think the secret to my own success is my uniqueness.
Mm,
That what God did for in me, what my mother did in me, even unintentionally. And to make movies and to get movies stories made is not an easy thing. And so I'm thankful that I was blessed with the gift of resourcefulness.
mm,
That thing from Philly, that approaching life that like there's no plan B, right? All those that learning to survive when I was homeless, all those things that I could not understand when I was younger that were
yeah.
happening to me were actually preparing me for a life beyond my dreams because I take all of that and I approach that, I use that to succeed in Hollywood. And so yeah, it's I don't know. It's something about our uniqueness. And I
I
think that's
love,
what you see.
yes, I love that. I know you said your sensitivity, so I feel like that's your superpower,
Mm.
in a sense.
Yes.
And that grit that you have from growing up in Philly, I feel like definitely taking that over to Hollywood and knowing how to get through hard
Yes.
ish,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it's definitely a tough space. So we're talking a bit about, building successful products. Let's switch gears over to this new endeavor you have where
Yeah.
you're mixing cinema with, for me, a pastime that I love,
Yeah.
puzzles. Talk to
Yeah.
us a bit about cinema puzzles. How did this come to be?
Well, so I have an entrepreneurial background. So what a lot of people may not know is that I took a break from writing back in 2013, and I launched my own men's grooming concept that I called Hammer and Nails Grooming Shop for Guys. I started with one location in LA. Fast forward, there's 80 across the country now. So I've always had this entrepreneurial background. So long story short, I've always loved puzzles. But there was a disconnect for me personally between my love of puzzles and the puzzles that are available to do. If I'm honest, they bored me. I didn't want to do landscapes. I didn't want to do abstracts. And because there wasn't a lot for me to do to invest my time, I didn't do puzzles as much as I would like. So one night, I'm sitting in the movie theater just last year, and I just had a random thought. And the thought was, I wish there was a scene from a movie that I loved that was a puzzle
Mm,
because I do that puzzle.
mhm.
And in that moment, I knew it didn't exist. So I decided to create a puzzle brand for people who love movies. And it's called Cinema Puzzles. And I was able to, get some of the biggest studios in the business to get behind this idea and license me some of their IP that I could now reimagine as puzzles. And so that's Cinema Puzzles.
I love it. So tell
Yeah.
us, like, how'd you guys go about picking which films or which
Yeah.
scenes to use as puzzles?
Yeah, and so for every studio it's different, right? Because every studio has different movies. So, for example, one of my licensed stores is Universal Studios, and I mean, they have everything from Jurassic Park
Yeah.
to Jaws to Love Actually to Scarface. And I wanted them all. So I was able to sort of work with the studio to curate the films that I wanted to turn into puzzles. And then I was able to access a library of scenes and choose the scenes that I thought would make a great puzzle. And I was able to do that with Universal. I was able to do that with Lionsgate. And so, we have everything from, on the Lionsgate side, we have the Twilight saga, all the Twilight films. They're
Nice.
iconic scenes from all those movies that are now cinema puzzles. The Hunger Games, Dirty Dancing, the iconic Dirty Dancing, of course, Jaws, right?
Yeah.
51 years later. And so it's an incredible opportunity. And the goal is, people don't think of puzzles, excuse me, they don't think of movies as puzzles,
Mm.
but the goal is they will,
Yeah,
and
for
they
sure.
will because of cinema puzzles, creating this new category. And so it's an e-commerce business. People who want to combine their interest in puzzles or love of puzzles with movies, they can just go to cinema puzzles and literally shop with genres in mind. Like you can click romance, you can click thriller or action or drama and find puzzle versions of these iconic scenes that you love.
I I love this so much. For me, I'm a person that loves puzzles, coloring books,
Yes.
crosswords, all those things to help me, relieve stress, center
Yes.
myself, feel like a
Yes.
kid again. And
Yes.
films are also another way for me to do that. So combining these two,
Yes.
I am like your target market
No,
here.
and you said something about like relieving stress. It's one of the reasons I do puzzles, right?
Mm,
And because it is a stress reliever and it checks a lot of boxes. Like for parents who have kids who they would rather them spend some non-tech time, right? Like why not get a cinema puzzle that's inspired by a movie they love with characters they know, scenes they remember, that they
hmm
can now do in a 100 piece. All the pieces are oversized for kids, but there's films that have been turned into cinema puzzles for parents who have kids, right? And then you may have an older parent. One of the best things a senior can do is do a puzzle.
Yes.
And so, the vision is that as I grow, Cinema Puzzles grows, that the categories of options expand. I would love for like my mother to be able to do Cooley High as a puzzle one day, right?
Yes. Yes.
My mother can do Claudine as a puzzle because she remembered that movie, right? And so that's the goal, right? And so we just started, and I'm super excited.
Yes, I'm super excited too. So, guys, if you're listening to this, my birthday is in August around the corner. So, put this in your list for me for my birthday.
Um,
Michael, so let us know, how can we buy, where to
yeah.
support the puzzles, and how can we get
Yes.
this into our homes?
Yes. Cinemapuzzles.com. Please go to
And
cinemapuzzles.com and look around. Look around and just pick a genre, shop, and see if you find something that you connect with. And but that's where you'll find them. Cinemapuzzles.com.
cinemapuzzles.com. And you guys have
Yes.
Instagram or any
Yes. On Instagram and Facebook is Cinema Puzzles. Easy to
across the
find
board?
across the board.
There we
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
of course. Well, you guys have it here. You guys heard it first. Go check out Cinema Puzzles by
Black
Michael
owned
Elliot.
and black
Black
owned.
owned.
Black owned puzzle
Listen, so you
company.
guys definitely tap in. And Michael, thank you so much for joining us today, letting
Thank
us pick
you.
your brain a bit. And yeah, this has been another episode of the Culture Report.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great meeting you too.